Hey everybody, had a Jan Brady moment. um, if you're old enough, you probably know exactly what that was. Real quick, sound should be okay, and I know you can see me. The lights are up. Hello everyone. First off, Bloody Mary Monday. Hope you have a beverage. A very strong Bloody Mary with lots of Worcestershire. A little bit of Worcestershire, lots of horseradish, and rimmed with Old Bay seasoning. My favorite. Little Mountain Life. I think I confused you with a lot of people, Don. You were in here first at 7 o'clock. You checked in. Originally it was 7 o'clock, then I changed it to 8. So somebody just give me some thumbs up on volume so I know I'm not just, you know what I mean? But yeah, originally it was 7 o'clock, now it's 8 o'clock, and I changed it because today's flights got a little messed up. I was out flying today, and as always, I'll take about 3 drones with me. So I wanted to get DJI FPV. I had that with me. I didn't fly it. I took the DJI Mini 2 along with the Fimi X8 Mini and was doing range flights with the different batteries on the Fimi. And then wanted to fly the DJI Mini 2, and I did. And then I lost it. So I had a failed return to home. And I'll get into that. That'll be probably the first topic I get into after I do a quick little shout out to everybody who's here. But that's why it was a delay, because my day just kind of went to crap. And I thought I could get on sooner when I originally had everything scheduled, and still thought I could do it. But I had some things I wanted to finish up last minute since everything, domino effect. So I didn't get home when I planned on it, and then everything else. So anyhow, Don. From Little Mountain Life and DJI Maury Podcast, Matt Bagwell, Maddie's Drone World. Maddie's Drone World, if you guys don't know, that's Matt Cundiff. That's his new channel name. It's about time you started a channel, buddy. But it's Maddie's Drone World, and that's where you can find him. Go and subscribe to his channel. Most everybody in here probably knows Matt. And Mark, JC Flying, Marcel, how you doing, Marcel? Just spoke with you a little bit ago. And Miguel, Patrick, and who else we got here? I went too fast. Fleabag, FPV, and Huge Ass. It's been a little while since I've seen Huge Ass. Thank you for the volume check on that, guys. And Akrish, wow, I do this to you every time, dude. I am sorry. I should just call you Murray. B. Wayne, good to see you. Drone Pool, JC Flying, I got you. Michael, Belshi, is it Belshi or Belsh? I should just say first names. David Reynolds. And a lot of people popping in here. Alex, I'm sorry. It just jumped. Everybody's talking. Greg Trevor, TEB Drone Flyer, Gene Fox, Callmac 1, Mark Trotter, Gorilla Man's Garage. And I hate to spend a ton of time on this, but I don't want to be rude and miss anybody. I crack up with Huge Ass. That cracks me up. And just going down to the bottom here. Alexis, is it Alexis? I know I butchered it by saying Alex before, but that's because I wasn't sure. Is it Alexis? I know I've spoken to you before. We've spoken on Facebook. You're in my group. And then something tech. My apology. That's a new one for me in the group here. There's a few of you that are very new in here, so that's really nice to see. And then there's some that popped in that haven't been in the past ones. And then of course we got the new Matt Cundiff in his Matty's Drone World. So like I said, go check out his link. And Matt, let me give you, Matt, you have a wrench, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Mute. Matt, you have a wrench, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Mute. Oh, come on. Close that. Okay. But yeah, share a link to your channel, Matt Cundiff, and all that, just because I was checking to make sure you had a wrench, because I'm not on that screen. I'm on this StreamYard screen, so I can't tell who's got the wrench and who doesn't. Because I don't watch that, but I'll pull it up on my phone just so I can have the YouTube version as well for a slightly different view. And make sure I turn my volume down there. And there we are. Okay. All right. So, all right. Delays. First off, I just want to say, aside from hello to everybody, thank you for popping in here. 45 people. It's amazing to me. I've been off. I have popped out a few videos here lately, but I took over 2 months off. And no huge reason why. I just kind of needed to pull away. It wasn't that YouTube was too stressful or anything like that, but as many of you guys know, it was a year since my mom passed away. So approaching that, there's a lot of memories that popped up. And because I spent virtually almost every single spare day off I had making trips to Virginia and staying with her and caring for her. So it was a lot of the memories of what I was doing this time last year, building up to the day that she passed away. And then she passed away. It was a year on just before Father's Day. And we went and spread my mother's and father's ashes up in the mountains of Virginia, not too far from you, Don, at Little Mountain Life. And actually right in your mountains. But we had my mom and dad's ashes mixed together, and we all went there, all my family members, and spread my mom and dad's ashes, because that's where they used to go when they dated. My dad always used to take her up to the mountains there. So did that, and then afterwards, of course, there's no simpler way to put it other than depression is real. So just focused on doing yard work, doing things around the house, planting a whole bunch of bushes. I planted all my green giants. They're a pain in the ass. Half of them died, and I had to get new ones. They sent me free new ones and planted those, and they're looking beautiful, but it was a pain in the butt. A lot of care in those little babies. So that was that. Took over 2 months off, and then I did not expect to see now 46 people in the house, so it's nice. So getting on to sales first. I popped in at the top of the screen here, and I'll pop it in the comments here if I have it still saved here. I have many of you were interested. Some had mentioned it, and then I said I'd think about doing it, but I've got QC Guy merch. This one was the very first trial one I did, and I'm not crazy about it. The logo is too big. So now I have this style in a smaller logo, and then I have this style logo but color as well. My normal color logo with the orange. And they don't say QC Guy. I didn't think anybody wanted to walk around wearing a QC Guy shirt, so I just put the actual logo QC on there, and with the little rotor cap on it. and all my shirts, they don't say Guy on them. So I don't know that I'd want to wear QC Guy on my breast. So the logos on them are smaller. Go to the link. I'll pop it in there. And I've got those two, and then I've got this one here. And this one was a little comical one I made. It's called Plan for Today. And it basically, cup of coffee, fly your Hubsan drone, climb a tree to get your drone out of it, and then go have a beer. Or start with a beer, whatever you want. I don't judge. So I've got that one in there too. So the link will take you to my store. They are limited supply, and when I say limited supply, I don't say limited supply to get you to buy them. They truly are limited supply. Don at Little Mountain Life uses this too. What you do is you basically set a certain amount, and you set a certain amount of days, and a campaign is what they call it. So it's set for like a 15-day campaign for a certain number, and you have short sleeve, you have V-neck, you have sweatshirts, you have pullovers, you have long sleeve, different color shirts, in all sizes. So they are limited. So if you want one, you better go grab one, because you got 15 days basically, or if they sell out before that. So that's it. Go grab yourself a shirt. I do appreciate it, and I do make proceeds off of that, and those proceeds are going to go to Pittsburgh Children's Hospital. So that's a good thing. And that's it. So I'm going to get on to the other stuff. Let me just quick, if you said anything and I missed it. I think a lot of you guys usually just kind of talk amongst yourselves. That's great. But I don't want to miss anything. So if there's anything important, just pop it back up in the bottom, and I will pick it up. John, how about the beanie? I don't have any beanies. I do want to do hats. I'd rather do more of an embroidered hat instead of a print hat. I'd want to do really nice hats. So those I'll have to have done locally at a place that I know of. But maybe beanies. I'm not a beanie person, but if you're a beanie, I'll do beanies if enough people want those. And Fly Zone drones in the house. Yeah, so hello, anybody new that just popped in. I've already done roll call, and hello, Will to Fly High. But what do you guys want to talk about first? So I got three things here. We can talk about my flights here lately with this and what I think about it. We can talk about what is missing from my DJI Mini 2 case that happened today. Or we can talk about the Zino Mini Pro first, or the also SE version. So whatever you guys want to talk about first. I think I kind of want to talk about the DJI Mini 2 mishap first. So I'm going to talk about that. Like I said, the case is missing my drone and one battery. So now I have 3 batteries, and I have a controller. I didn't know what happened at the time. At first I thought I disconnected or had a app frozen thing or whatever, but I flew out and lost signal, and it kicked into automatic return to home. So I had my blank screen for a little while, and I just assumed it flew. It's turned into return to home. So it did, because I could hear it buzzing up ahead, and I was at my typical spot at the reservoir over the water, and I could hear it buzzing. And it basically gave me a flyover fuck you. It just literally went diagonally over my head. And I was like, okay. And I had put the controller with the antennas pointed towards it, just propped, and wasn't paying attention. I was messing with the camera and things like that until I heard it coming. So that's when I noticed on the controller was turned off. My controller was completely powered down, and that was the initial problem. So since the controller was powered down, that kicked in the failsafe of disconnect and return to home. Except it didn't want to come to me. It decided to just fly on overhead and keep on going. So I figured it just flew away, and until the battery dies and it just falls from the sky and somebody's farm field has it. But I went ahead and went down to the direction where it went into the woods and looked around, didn't find anything. I have nothing to go by. I wasn't recording on my phone. I haven't gone into the app to check flight log yet. As far as down there, I had absolutely zero signal and my phone was acting very slow, and I was pissed off and frustrated, really. So I just said, you know what, bye-bye. I'm never going to see you again. And I walked away. I'm going to go back in the morning and look, and I'm going to look into my app and see if I can get anything there. I don't know once it disconnects totally if I have anything. I think it's going to end since I was totally 100% total disconnect with app and controller. I think the flight log is going to end wherever it cut out on me here. It won't have any of the return to home or anything like that. But what I'm thinking now it might have done is I went down this long path, and some of you might have seen it in the past, where there's the spillway turns into a creek or small river. And that is where I had launched prior to launching up in the place where I park near the spillway. So that was my first flight, and I'm thinking maybe my second flight or my last flight, it did not record my home takeoff point, and it still had the original home takeoff point. So I'm thinking maybe that's where it returned, and then if it landed, it's nothing but trees down there. So if I don't find it on the ground, it's going to be up in a tree, and I'm not going to give it much more effort than that. But I will go give it a try tomorrow. I did do a recording of going and saying, hey, it just flew over, and announcing that I lost it. And I recorded my first initial search, tromping through the weeds and looking in the trees and things like that. And so I'll go back tomorrow to the exact area where I originally took off down there and try looking more in that surrounding area, and hopefully find it. I'm very doubtful. So it would be nice to find it, but if not, I've got to buy another one, because I've got all this. I've got 4 batteries in here, 3 batteries in here, and then my controller and all my stuff. So I'll buy just a basic model, I guess. I don't know. So that's that. I temporarily, hopefully, do not have my Mavic Mini 2. I say temporarily because I'm hopeful. I'm very doubtful, actually. I don't think I'll find it. But yeah, Matt, fingers crossed. Prayers. I'm not one that gets all freaked out and crazy once I lose it, and it's not because I don't say, it's not like I'm Mr. Moneybags or anything like that, and I don't care. It's just, it's material. And when you're in the hobby, this stuff's going to happen. I've never ever lost one to where I've had my mishaps, but I've never totally lost one. So this would be a first after over 7 years of flying. So I think that's a pretty good track record. It's bound to happen at some time or another. So, and then all these hanging up behind me, it's not like I can be upset. I've got much better behind me. So I would just like to have it, because we're doing all these mini comparisons, and my DJI Mini flies away. So I'll be comparing this and the Hubsan to the DJI FPV. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's that. And to be continued. There will be some sort of video on my channel, just kind of doing the search and recovery. And either I'll be cracking a beer at the end and just drinking my sorrows away, or maybe we'll crack a beer at the end in celebration. I don't know. So we'll find out. So that's that. I think that's enough of that. And thank you, everybody, for the kind words on that. Yeah, and I don't know how the app works on that when you have a total disconnect, but if anybody's ever had that and you still have your full flight log or the full data, let me know. I really don't think it's going to have it all. I didn't go into it and look, because like I said, I didn't have enough time building up to this live, and I just put that aside, so I'll look at that later tonight. But yeah, it does suck, Patrick, and it's drone pull as far as on my phone. It's iPhone. I don't know if that I know Android. You've got different ways of caching that stuff, but like on iPhone, I don't think it's anywhere on my phone, so I have no idea. Wow, 61 of you in here now. God bless you. So let's go on to the Fimi, and then we'll jump into the Hubsan circus. So I've got the Fimi. Here's the Fimi X8. I'm gonna slide this mic over a little bit more to me because I don't want to be like real echoey. The further away from me, the more echo it sounds. The closer it is, the better my voice is. But I like this quad. I really did not think I would like this one bit. I thought I would hate the Fimi X8 Mini, but I like it. And now this is Chad B's. He got it, and he flew it for a little bit, and then, as we said in our lives, it was going to be my turn. So I've gotten it, and I've done a couple things on my video where I just did a little intro with it, and then I did one where I did a flight with it, whatever that was, and then today I did some range flights with it. I have the sport battery and I have the standard battery. So there are things I don't like about it. Man, it's tight. This is the sport battery, and it definitely does better flight time anyhow on actual flying. I did a range flight. I did 2 range flights. One with the standard, one with the Pro. Not as a battery comparison, but just because I wasn't crazy about the first one and I wanted to see if I could do better. So the second flight I did with the Pro battery, and it being a lighter battery, even though it's less milliamp hours, when I got out as far as I could get out, it had more battery than the standard heavier battery had. So it actually did better on that one flight comparison than the standard battery. But here's one thing I noticed that was really weird, and it's not a killer for me because it was I didn't notice it while I was flying. But under return to home, I feel like I'm yelling here. Am I talking too loud, guys? When I was on my return to home, I'm looking at my screen on my phone, and it looked like the whole time it's coming home, it's rocking like a cradle. Very subtle, not like I'm doing, but it looked like I don't know if it was just the gimbal or what. Something, it was a steady, fluent little sway. It was very strange. I don't, maybe it was kind of like this. I can't remember now. I haven't looked at the footage yet. I need to look at the SD card because I was recording it, but it was very strange. And I went out in decent wind, but the wind completely dropped and disappeared by the time I got out. And on my way back, it was dead. There wasn't any wind. Maybe up there was, but I don't think it was enough to cause such a consistent sway. It was very strange. Other than that, as far as flight control stability, I think this is a decent first attempt for Fimi. This is the first time they've done anything like this. So as a first attempt to try and compete, I think they did very well on stability. I tuned it in a little bit on my stick control, my Gain Expo. I tuned that down a little bit. I was a little happier with that today because they were all stock parameters. So I've adjusted those a little bit, playing with those. But the one thing I do not like at all about this is camera settings. Camera settings are lacking huge. I don't know if we will ever have them, if they'll bring these up in updates, but you're kind of limited what you can do manually. So my next thing is to go into the, I don't know what Fimi calls their RAWs, or what do they call their RAW files? F-Log or whatever. But that's my next step, is I'm going to try those and see what kind of video quality I get. Because as I say in my videos, I always focus, if I've got nice clouds, I always focus on getting nice definition out of those clouds, making them look exactly the way they should look. And then however everything else turns out, that's how it turns out, and I'll play with that in my editing. If I focus on the clouds and I get them set to where they're not all washed out like you see in so many Fimi videos, they're way overexposed and you can hardly see, it's just white, because everybody focused on getting the ground nice and light. If you focus on those clouds and get those darker, then, or get those, nice high definition, nice crisp, clean, your ground darkens up. That's good for me. I like that. If you have a darker image down below, you can play with that in editing. If you go and overexpose your shit, you can't do anything with it in editing. You just make it look worse. It looks like garbage. So that's what I always do in the manual settings, and I haven't been crazy about it. Today I played with it a little bit, and I'll see how it turned out. So I may turn to the other files and try and edit those. And I want to see what other people are doing with those, if anybody else is using those on YouTube and sharing it. So yeah, what do they call them? F-Log? What are they called? F-Log at 2EV is good. Thanks, Gorilla Man. But yeah, I'm going to try that out and see how that goes. But the other thing I don't like is the lag. The lag in my device. It's not always present, but the picture quality on the app sucks compared to others. And it just seems like it's darker. I brighten my phone up all the way. I put it on my iPad, and I put it on my Android tablet. Same thing. They're dark. And it's just not crisp and clear. So it's hard. It's what I see on my device and then what I see on the SD card are completely two different worlds. And that makes it hard to adjust as well. So that's what you rely on, is you rely on your device, what you're seeing on your screen when you're setting your camera settings. So that's where, an F-Log files are probably going to work out to be best too, because it really is a little easier because you do most of your stuff with your editing. But other than that, I'm happy with that quad so far. And I'm kind of afraid to do any firmware updates from here, because we know what happens. They can hit it and then they can miss it. And that can be a complete pain in the ass when you're sitting there waiting for them to refix something that was already fixed to begin with, that they screwed up. So that's something Fimi does, it's something Hubsan does, and it's frustrating. So I'm one that, you've heard me say it a million times. People say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When it comes to doing firmware updates, I always say let it get a little dust on it and let these other guys be test dummies, like Gorilla Man's Garage. Let him be a test dummy, because he'll update it, he'll test it, he'll share his findings in our little Fimi X8 group that I'm in with somebody else, or I admin with somebody else. And Gorilla Man's Garage is in there, and he shares a lot of Fimi X8 Mini stuff. So yeah, so I'm just going to let my firmware, I think, get a little dust on it. I'm not one to run to my channel and say, oh, firmware update or app update, and I got to show everybody nothing. Because really in a firmware update, you really don't show a whole lot unless they make mistakes, and then you can show those. As far as build, what I hear from people saying, oh, be careful with that thing, it's so fragile. I really wish I had my Mini 2 here as a comparison, but plastic wise, they're not any different. They need the lightweight. It's not a whole lot different. The legs, maybe a little more flex in the legs. I don't know, but I don't think it's a bad build quality at all. I can't wait to see what Hubsan comes up with their build quality, but As for this thing being too fragile or anything like that, I don't see it. It's made for lightweight. And in comparison to DJI, yeah, they can do it better. I think their legs are a little more solid plastic versus having these little panels on the back, real thin panels on the back. That kind of makes it a little flex. So maybe that might be the only difference, is arm stability versus the bodies being pretty much the same. That's just my guess because I don't have the damn thing in front of me to show you guys. But any of you that have the Mini 2 or the regular Mini, or soon the SE for you guys not here in the United States, I believe they just started shipping those this today, maybe the SEs over somewhere Europe. I don't know. But I did read a quick little rumor on that. But yeah, I'm very happy with the Fimi X8 Mini for what it is. They didn't come out promising us the world. It's pretty simple, basic quad. It's Hubsan who's coming out promising us the world. And that's the one that you're going to be a little more critical on, because they're coming out with a big bunch of promises there. So there's a whole lot, I think, to talk about with the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro and the SE. Let me have a drink. And an olive. Okay. Sorry, guys. Those Bloody Marys are so frickin' good. I don't know if you guys like Bloody Marys, but with Old Bay around the rim and lots of horseradish, it is so good. It doesn't need much more. A little bit of Worcestershire and that's it. So, in talking about maybe I should look at some of the comments real quick. This is where flying solo in this is very tough because it's hard to keep up on the topic. I mean, the conversations and comments, I mean. So, I hope Hubsan doesn't leave the parachute off. I've been a very good cheerleader. If you've been watching any of the past lives, I've been a really good cheerleader, and I haven't been busting balls. I haven't been making the predictions I want to make. But I mean, I hope you guys don't think I've drank the juice. I did not drink the Kool-Aid. I did not completely lose my what sense I have. I know very well that if a dog bites, it's going to bite again. Hubsan has history, and history does repeat itself. We know what the Hubsan had. Yeah, here's the Hubsan drink I've been drinking that has me saying, oh, they're going to be great. Yeah, yeah, flawless. Can't go wrong buying these. Yep. But history will repeat itself. So what is the biggest problems that they have? We have a customer service issue with them. They'll start off really fast and great as far as supporting a new product, but then the history repeating itself becomes overwhelming, and what happens? Everybody has seen it if you are in my Facebook group. My Hubsan QC Help and Support group. It's just Hubsan. Been doing this for a long time. Every single time it's the same thing. They just disappear. Customer service becomes non-existent. Everybody all of a sudden starts saying, can anybody get through? Are they responding to the emails? Are they taking care of your problems? Are they answering? Or I'm trying to buy this part. I want to spend money with them on their company, but they won't reply back. This is the type of stuff their customer service does. It's not very smart, but this is what happens. So I think the biggest thing we're going to see is the battery issues. This has not been, I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden it's become a problem, but what we have is a lot of people have their Hubsan Zinos falling from the sky, or they have these quick 10-minute flights where they start out with 100% and the battery goes down faster than a frickin' countdown timer. And that's because of these contacts. Now, you really can't see them, but these contacts here, they just slide into the copper brass pins on the quad. And if you are in my Facebook group, you will see a lot of posts where people are posting about that section on the quad melting the plastic, and that's because these contacts make bad contact when plugged in. They'll arc out, they'll overheat, and they'll melt the plastic. There's been a few that have been completely just engulfed Zinos. This wasn't a problem in the beginning with this connection. So that little power supply board that has the pins on it that the battery makes contact with, something has changed there, I think, where they've made those a tad bit thinner, maybe. I don't know. But basically, it's just 2 points on each slot that has to touch. And if it's not, you're going to have a cell dropping out really fast, or you'll have the short circuit where they overheat and then they end up melting and causing all kinds of problems. And then you can't even get the battery out. They become permanently welded at that point. So there have been plenty of those. I'm sure some of you in the group that are in, or in the chat here that are in my group, have seen plenty of those. But these are the type of things that we see. So now we're not going to have a LiPo battery. It's the lithium-ion battery in the Zino Mini Pro, but will we have any issues with their connectors? So, or will they mess up on their firmware end of it? Because that was the very beginning that we had seen when they first started putting in the battery warning and making you land your quad. They didn't used to do that. It used to be so simple on their app, and it was so nice because you didn't have those little annoyances telling you, oh, low battery, we're going to be forced to land soon. I'm responsible for all that when I'm flying. I don't mind when I'm out far and it says just enough battery to return to home, okay, or cancel, and then that should be the end of it. But Hubsan really went kind of berserk with it and added all kinds of little warning prompts and stuff, and that's when all of a sudden the battery meter didn't make sense. It was depleting a little faster, and then you pulled that battery out, you put it on a meter, and you had 30% battery when it told you had 15% battery. So things like that. That's the kind of things I think we will run into. We've got the cheap cable issues where the cables heat up during a firmware update. The FPV IT cable, flex cable, it gets super hot when doing firmware updates, mainly on the Zino 2 and Zino 2 Plus. And then they completely fail. You'll do a firmware update. You'll lose FPV, the update won't finish because it can't do that IT update. Then you replace the cable, hook it all up, update completes, and you're perfectly fine. Tons of people have had that issue. I see them all in my group, and I've worked on their quads. So, and don't forget, I do this weekly working on Hubsans, and actually a lot of Evo 2s here lately. A lot. 2 a month. But I see everything firsthand and in my group. So these are the type of things I think we'll see history repeating itself. So again, another long story short, I'm just saying I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid or the Hubsan cocktail and telling you you can't go wrong buying one of these, or this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread, or yep, they're definitely competing with DJI. No. I'm liking what I see on paper. That's it. I'm smart. I know that this is going to be a little bit of a letdown of some sort. I feel like, and you can mark my words right now, I feel like we're going to take delivery of a product that's going to work. Not 100%. That's an easy thing to predict right there. Not 100% of everything they promise is going to work. But a majority of stuff will probably work. We'll have some camera settings, we'll have some features, we'll have some things not finely tuned and working right, or completely missing altogether, like features, or some camera settings not there yet, things like that. They'll fix things and they'll mess things up along the way, and that's the thing that scares me the most. They'll make these little firmware updates, and the firmware updates aren't very detailed at all. They love to just say help the user experience be more. I don't know what they say. It's usually a better user experience is one of the update things in the list, and then the other is known bugs. Everybody does known bugs. DJI, Fimi, everybody does it. I hate known bugs because if they're known bugs, tell me what the known bugs are. They're known bugs to Hubsan or Fimi or Autel or DJI, but they're not necessarily known to me. I would like to know what I'm updating. It should be more detailed, and that really should be something that that is pushed harder and enforced, because it's really kind of crappy that a firmware update just says known bugs, and you're really desperate for a good update, and you're just going to update that update on a wing and a prayer, where I say no, do not update it. Let it get dusty. See what everybody else is doing. And if people do a firmware update video on YouTube, and I'm not calling out any names here, but I see it all the time from some of the same people, they're fumbling through the app and making their own problems, or they're not even testing what the firmware update says it was, and then they land it and say, yeah, I call this a success. Not a bad update, just because my drone came home. I was able to fly a little bit farther. Good update. Those are not update videos. Those are good videos if you like watching them, but those aren't good videos to tell you go ahead and update your firmware. So if you mark my words and just say, if you go by my words and just say let it get a little dusty, watch everybody else, as long as Hubsan's not forcing us to do the updates, don't do the updates. So that's one thing that I'm saying is going to be an issue, is their firmware updates. We'll probably have the same issues with probably some faulty cables, either in the gimbal or in the camera, the IT, the image flex cable. And then, there is going to be update issues, period, where we have to update via the app. It doesn't say anything on the computer, I don't think. I don't think it said anything about updating. Actually, it might have. I'm not going to dig through here, but I think on the SE, you can update with the SD card or the app, and then on the Pro, it's on the app and maybe on the computer as well. I don't know if they have the AMBA USB program for that. That's Lease 3.0, I guess, or Lease 3, Sync Lease 3. So I'm not sure. But anyhow, I'm going to go over the list of what we have for the Zino Mini Pro and the Zino Mini SE. Many of you probably already know this because I haven't been talking about it lately. But I'll go down the list of everything that's different between the two, and your price cost differences and things like that. And I'm going to say this is where they're very smart. They did this quick. Before people actually took delivery of any Zino Pros, they brought out this SE. That's a nightmare when you've taken delivery of a Zino Pro, and then they introduce something that's $120 cheaper than you paid, and you realize, you know what, I don't care about sensors. I don't care if my image sensor's a little bit smaller. I don't care if it's a different this or that, a different color. So they did it right. They were smart in jumping in and doing that. Especially, I don't know if they knew about the DJI SE, Mini SE when they were working on this SE, but the two pop up around the same time. So that's pretty good too. So that brings them cheaper into the market, offering a little less. It might actually be the better quad of the two because you have less to worry about. So what we have, Zino Mini Pro versus Zino Mini SE. The Pro is gray, the SE is white. Both, they still say, and I'm only going off specs on their website, not what anybody else says. Both weigh in at 249 grams. The Zino Mini Pro is 40-minute flight time, where they're saying 45-minute flight time on the Zino Mini SE. If that works out, period, for 40 minutes even, that's going to be really nice. That's gonna 40-minute flight time feels like a lot. When I got the Evo 2 and I had more flight time with that, it really felt like I was up in the air forever. Like you were like, wow, I'm still flying. I better check, and the battery's still good. And so that'll be nice if they even come close to that. You have the 2400 milliamp hour in the Zino Mini Pro, and then you have a 3000 milliamp hour in the Zino Mini SE. I'm just going to say Pro or SE. Your battery weight in the Pro is 101.84 grams. The SE is 99.8 grams. Your camera sensor on the Pro is 1/1.3, and then your sensor on the SE is 1/2.6. 2.6 is a higher number, but those of you who don't know, the higher number is actually smaller sensor. That fraction works out to a smaller sensor versus 1/1.3, which is a larger sensor, which is bigger than DJI. The Mini, it's bigger than the Mini 2, I think, right? I think theirs is 1.2, I think, on the Mini. But yeah, that's a pretty big sensor right there. Brings in more light, brings in more data, makes your picture better. So that's a good thing. The Zino Mini Pro has the built-in memory. Now, I have a theory on this. If you guys have been watching, I still say we're gonna have an SD card. It's the stupidest thing to not have an SD card. Only built-in memory. If that fails, what do you have? You have nothing. You have a bad motherboard is what you have. Because most people aren't going to be able to change that out. So you're going to have to get a new board, and that's going to be costly. If it's an internal SD card, internal memory that fails, and you still have an SD card externally, you have that other option. Not only that, when these things brick up, your saving grace is that SD card installation. I still feel like they have the built-in memory and the SD card. The Mini SE doesn't have the built-in memory, it just has a SD card. Here's my theory on why I think they're doing this. They're saying it does not have one, but places like Banggood and AliExpress, whoever have advertised this, have advertised the SD card and what type it. This is before the SE was even announced. They said it had an SD card and what types it takes. Hubsan is standing strong and saying it does not have one. I've gotten emails from them replying to my request on an answer, and they say, nope, does not. It's internal memory. They don't say it does not have an SD card. They say it's internal memory. You have choice between 64 and 128. Very short, dry emails. The reason I think they're doing this 64 gig and 128 gig internal memory and saying it does not have external memory, it's to get you to pay more for that 128 gig. That's just my guess. Now, I didn't buy the 128 gig. I bought the 64 gig. I think that's plenty. I don't keep everything stored on there. I take it off. I do my editing. I put things in folders that I want to save for later or whatever. So 64 gig is fine. I'm not going to load that up in one day out flying. So I really think a part of it could be they might just be playing a game, a slick sales game of if they think it only has internal memory, 64 gig and 128 gig, we'll probably sell a good bit of this 128 gig, charging them more money. When really you don't end up, in the end, you don't even need that 128 gig, if I'm correct. So I don't like conspiracy theories, but that one sounds good to me. I really wanted to have this SD card slot because like I said before, I work on these a ton. And that is a saving grace for these quads, that people have bricked up with their firmware updates if they've done it wrong or it's just gone wrong naturally. That's how I save them. So, hooking them up to the computer and loading the files on that way, it works most of the time, but sometimes that SD slot is my only tool I have to save that quad. And sometimes you need that. So that would be dumb to get rid of it. And not only for that, like I said, if your internal memory gets all messed up and doesn't work, you have nothing. You have no memory whatsoever. So long time spent on that, because I'm very passionate about that one. If you guys have seen any of my lives, I've been steady saying that's a mistake, and that I believe it's in there, that they have it. So I feel like it is. I don't know what you guys think about that, but yeah, I mean, that's like the same Apple strategy, Miguel says. So Apple strategy with iPhones, it's kind of the same thing. So although with iPhones, though, you actually do need the internal memory, because we don't have SD card slots like your Android phones have. So I can stick something through the bottom, but do I want to walk around with this big old bulky thing plugged into the bottom of my phone? No. So, and there's other options you can use, but Android does do it best. They're ahead of Apple. Apple gives us these little tidbits, and slowly we trail behind. Android. My thing with Apple is it always works, and it always works for drones. There's just, when you see a lot of issues with drones, it's an Android phone. It's not so much an Apple. So I like my Apple products. I'm Apple everything anyhow, so it just makes sense. The range on the Pro is 10 kilometers versus 6 on the SE. The controller part number, I'm only bringing this up because this is kind of goofy to me. We have SyncLease 3 on the Pro, and we have SyncLease 2 on the SE. These are different transmission frequencies or formats. They're both SyncLease, but as far as I know, they're going to require a different controller. They won't be able to share the exact same controller. I don't think SyncLease 2 versus SyncLease 3 shares the same controller, but they're giving the exact same part number on these controllers. That's something to watch out for. I mean, if you ever need a controller and you go to buy HT018Y, well, that's the same part number for the Mini SE as well. So that's just something I thought was interesting. Both have the TOF sensor, both have the optic flow, but only the Pro has obstacle avoidance. So the biggest things there, the Pro has obstacle avoidance, the Mini SE has no obstacle avoidance. I'm fine with that. And then your other biggest thing would be your camera sensor size is larger on the Pro versus the SE. So you have two different cameras there. You also have different gimbal motors, so you're not going to have any interchanging parts between camera and gimbal from model to model. I want to point out the SE says sold out on their website. That's just short for we don't have it. They haven't taken any pre-orders on that. It just says sold out from day one, and that's typical Hubsan. They always say sold out when it's just coming soon and it's not in pre-order state. So they just put sold out instead of not available yet. The Pro says pre-order. The SE is the one that says sold out. The SE, like I said, it's about $120 cheaper than the Pro, and that's why with those differences that you saw there. I do like the fact that they weigh the same. Taking all that out, they've upped the size of the battery milliamp hour. They've increased that weight of that battery. Will we be able to interchange those batteries? That's something to think about, to be able to put the 3000 milliamp hour battery into the Zino Mini Pro. I think maybe you could, unless they've firmware locked us out of doing that. It will take you over 250 grams, but I don't care. That's not a problem for me. It's only a problem for those who have to stay within that, or find it much simpler in the hobby to stay within that 250, under that sub 250 category. Release date is the big thing. I've been seeing now. I was glad I've been away from YouTube because I was missing a lot of this. But then when I came back, I started watching YouTube videos, and I'm seeing everybody's got an insider at Hubsan. My contact, and I'm not knocking this person. I think he's a nice enough guy. I'm just not a supporter of his channel, but all of you guys know Drone Valley, correct? Everybody, we Drone Valley fans in here. I'm not going to be rude and point fingers at you if you subscribe to his channel, because like I said, he's a very nice guy. But Drone Valley has got his inside contact, and Drone Valley's got the latest scoop, and he's saying they're only going to produce the 128 gig model first. And I'm getting a completely twisted story and trying to confirm that with Hubsan. Now, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but if I ever say Hubsan said this or Hubsan said that to me, it's going to be, take it with a grain of salt. I will never say this is fact. So now they've told me that mine's going to deliver next week. Or no, now we're into this week. So mine is supposedly going to deliver this week. I take that with a grain of salt because I've already been told it's going to ship in the past. So I'm not going to go and tell everybody, hey, they're shipping this week, they're starting shipments. I'm not saying that till I see the first person get it. And then I'm going to ask, do you have 128 gig memory? Well, first I'm going to ask, do you have an SD card? But I'm going to ask, do you have 128 gig memory or 64 gig internal memory? Because they very well may be doing just one and not a combination of both. I would think they're going to go with majority orders. If you are swamped with orders of 64 gig over 128, you're probably going to up production on the 64 a little bit and a little less production on the 128. That to me would kind of be the smart route to go, not just focusing on one only, unless the production line that is Hubsan can only handle one and not the other. I don't know. They don't completely manufacture these things. These are all shipped to them and they put them together in various pieces. So, yeah, that's what he was saying. And I just can't watch his channel because he's too bouncy. He bounces around and he laughs at everything he says. So he'll be like, I emailed Hubsan today and he does that kind of stuff. And I get lost and stuck in that. I can't focus on what he's saying. I get entranced in that goofy laughing at everything he says. That, and you can have a drinking game if you watch his channel. You can form a drinking game on, you got to take a drink every time he says the geek in me, or he calls himself a geek in some way or fashion, or the engineer. At least twice in every video, he'll call himself the geek. That's just the geek in me, or the geek in me had to find out, or the geek in me had to email them, or the geek engineer in me, or the engineer in me needed to know. It's always that, and a big name thrower. So I can't do those channels. I like people that are real and down to earth. Somebody I would be sitting having a normal conversation with, the real person, not what I'm seeing on the screen as what looks to me as an actor. So, like I said, nice guy, but too bouncy, trouncy, animated, and up in your face and giggly for me. So, too much of a geek engineer. I'm sorry. But yeah, nice guy. But anyhow, he says this is going to be 128 gig shipping first. I'm going to just say don't fall for that kind of stuff. Don't fall for all these rumors I'm seeing on a whole bunch of these live shows that are talking about it. I don't think I've ever given you anything yet on this quad that I'm saying is written in stone. It is what it is till we see it, and it's just words. It's just words. We're just seeing, for the most part, we saw nothing but anime for a long time, animation stuff for a long time, and then we saw the the successful 40-minute hover time and crash in the studio. I think it was more like 35 or 37 minutes, something like that. But then it crashed because they were getting battery greedy. I've been there. I've got battery greedy and I crashed. But the thing is, let's just wait and see what we get in the end, and let's just kind of talk about this stuff as this is what they're saying. This is our predictions. This is our guess. But yeah, we'll just wait and see. I get so sick and tired of seeing these channels that are just saying, you know, they've got the inside scoop. There is no inside scoop with Hubsan. You have this person telling you one thing and this person telling you another thing, and calling you dear all the time. No, don't worry, dear, it'd be okay, and things like that. So, Miguel, yeah, my email, if you go into my about information on my channel, you can get my email address, and you can show me the email from Hubsan. At least I think it's up there. Somebody told me my email wasn't up there, but people get in touch with me all the time. I get emails almost every day from people. So, yeah, you can send me the email. If not, it's qcguy.chris@gmail.com. Meepo Tello. I lost my DJI Mini 2. I talked about that very first start here of the live. There will be more to come on that. Hit that notification bell. Hopefully we'll have a successful search and recovery tomorrow. But it's going to sleep wherever it's at, up in a tree or in the grass. Hopefully not in that water. But I'm thinking I will not find it. And like I said in the very beginning, I'm hopeful I will. So let's see here. Wow, I just rambled on for a whole hour already, and still every one of you are here. If not every one of you, some popped out and popped back in, but 61 people. I love you. I love you. I'm going to run down to the bottom here. Hey, Chad, what's up, brother? I didn't see you were in here. He just popped in. And I have not talked to Chad since the weekend I was spreading my mom and dad's ashes. He messaged me and said, what's up? And I just told him we were spreading the ashes, my mom and dad's ashes. And I haven't spoke to him since. That was July 20th, almost a month. So, how time flies. I've just been so busy working on drones, engulfed in yard work. Both my boys have moved out, so I'm the only yard keeper, and it's a lot of yard to keep up. So I've been trying to do all that, and plus, you know, I work a job. So, let me look here. Patrick, dude, we missed you, brother. You missed me? It's only 2 months. Or it's Chad B. Miss Chad B, maybe? Probably Chad. I got you on that one. I responded. Chris, it sounds like you played this game. Yes, I have played this game. I've played this game so many times. If any of you guys, I mean, I don't see anybody. I don't know if any of you guys have been in my Hubsan group from the very start when I started it 5 years ago. Yeah, you would know the whole history of me and Hubsan, which started out with me gunning for them and attacking them, to me actually working closely with them and actually making a difference with the group members. Huge long story there, but it was a good, successful relationship for almost 3 years. And then came the Zino. And that's when I was like, nope, done, completely done. Because I tested the Zino before the Zino was sent out. The original Zino, before that was sent out, I had my normal working relationship with them. Not on payroll or anything. I got free drones. I tested them, and I got free batteries and shit like that. No big deal. But I gave them big solid reports on actual firmware testing. Every little bug and flaw I found, I gave it to them. I wasn't one that was real big on bit rate and all that, so I couldn't really give them all that, but you had a good solid flyer. If you have the Hubsan 501 models, the last SS, the M, the A, if you have those last models with the latest firmware, that's all my firmware. And I'm not going to be like Drone Worship and sit here and tell you I made the firmware, I programmed the firmware, I signed a non-disclosure and all this bullshit. There is no such thing with Hubsan. They're not that professional. You just give them an email with a Word document or however, Excel spreadsheet, and report everything about that, and then they tell you what they fixed, give you a new version to test. You test those things. So if return to home is not working properly, or if follow me mode is not tracking me properly, that's what I would report. That's what they would fix. And you got it fixed, because I was a stickler saying, please do not release this yet. They wanted to constantly release unfinished firmware. And I just kept saying, trust me, please, let's wait. We waited 6 months between the updates when they wanted to do this update in like 2 months. Waited 6 months. And part of that was because they introduced a new compass where you didn't have to do the compass dance every single time you turned on that quad. And so with that, it was always a good relationship till the Zino. I gave them a list exactly like I did with the 501s. Gave them a list of everything wrong. You know, it descending on takeoff, it dropping on left-hand turns. All that was the kind of stuff was what I was giving them in my original test of that product. And they released it. They said we think it will be good enough, not won't cause pilots too much troubles. Pretty much exactly the words right there. They basically were saying it wasn't going to be a big enough deal. Some would have problems, some wouldn't. It wouldn't be a big enough deal. And it really ticked me off and pissed me off, because at the same time, I'm kind of telling everybody, you know, this is going to be a good product. I'm really excited about it, and, you know, sharing links and people buying the product, their pre-orders and stuff like that. And then you end up getting it, and it has exactly what I reported. So that's when I quit. I was done. And everybody then labeled me the Hubsan basher. But as you see, I'm still doing it all with Hubsan. So, you know, I don't think any other channel will give you a review of a product, if that's what you want to call my reviews. I don't do full reviews like a lot of people do, where they show all the features and everything, but I don't think many channels are giving you those with fixes on almost everything there is on that quad, and fixing them for you if you can't do it yourself. So at a reasonable price. So that was a long answer to that one. If you guys are smart, don't ask me in-depth questions that are gonna make me give you long answers, because I definitely will give you super long answers. Well, a lot of people popping in that I don't normally see in here, or at least not often. But Drone Mike, were you in here before? I don't remember if you were in here before. Cameron Palmer. I think you were in here before. Robbie RC Pro. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, there is a lot of you. For me disappearing and just kind of popping up on another last minute one here. But I think we covered some pretty good stuff. I don't know what, you know, I can't sit through a lot of these channel updates, these updates on some of these channels. I'm sorry. I'm not that channel, guys. I don't play nice with everybody else. It's not that I don't like everybody else. It's just, it's like I said before about like Drone Valley. I don't like fake. I don't like fake. I like real. I think I'm my real self with you guys. I don't think I'm any bullshit. I'm not one that talks about somebody behind their back and then acts all sweet and kissy ass into your face. And that's what all these channels are like. You know, they're all buddies, but they're talking, some of them are talking about the others behind their backs from my past relationships with some of these guys and channels. And it's like, no, that's I don't like that. I don't want to be friends with you knowing you're talking about me behind my back, or you're talking about this guy I like and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just I can't watch all these updates on the Zino Pro because the channels they drive me nuts. They're actors. So many of them are actors, and they just want to sell you their links. And I'm not going to sell you links to a new product on my channel. I've mentioned it in my Fimi videos. Anything I'm doing on the Fimi videos right now, I'm not giving you a link. I don't want to be attached to it that way. I just want to do my review. I want to show you my experience with it. If I'm praising it, I'm still not going to give you a affiliate link of mine. I have plenty of other affiliate links if you want to click on those. Anything on my channel is pretty much in my list of affiliate links. Even the pegs on the wall behind me are in my affiliate links because everybody asks me what I use to hang my drones. So those links are there. My computer, my keyboard, everything is in those links. So, but I won't share, and I'm not saying anything about people that do, but I just want to be as unbiased as I possibly can, and just leave it at that. So yeah, I can't watch these other guys, so I'm not 100% up on everything everybody else is saying. I just happened to see the one pop up today from Drone Valley, and I was like, oh, he does a lot of DJI. It's just funny to see him with Hubsan. I think I'll watch. So yeah, dreaded whole beginning of that whole video was all about DJI. DJI's got two DJI Mavics sitting on the table. And then finally he gets to the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, talking about what it says on paper. And, talking about, the geek in him and the engineer and all that stuff. And that's when he was also throwing out his comments about his inside companion at Hubsan that he's spoken with, and he updated his order to 128 gigs so he could get it sooner. He ordered the 64 gig, but since they told him they're selling the 128 gig first, he upped his order. So they got more money out of him. They're not sending him one for free, supposedly. So, maybe that goes with what I said earlier. Maybe that's their strategy with this internal memory, is they're going to get you to spend a little bit more if you think that's the only memory it has. Because I am going on a wing and a prayer here that it has an SD card slot. You guys, when I get this thing, or if somebody else gets it, you're going to see me just do a live show on that SD slot alone. That's how happy I'll be to see that SD slot. I don't even have an SD card around me, but just to slide that son of a bitch in there, just stick it in the hole. All right, so we're over an hour here. I'm going to go through the chat real quick, and John, see you later, buddy. Good night. Chad, I should have asked you to jump in here. I didn't see you earlier, so I just figured you're out and about. I don't know if you're still doing vacation stuff since you've been vacation packed this summer. And I really just don't like you, so that's probably why I didn't ask you either. Chad B, you guys all know, is one of those YouTubers I can't stand. That's a joke. GB Ty, the Dudleys. I've interacted with the Dudleys in comments to some of my Fimi videos. I think the Dudleys just made a comment, actually, but I have seen you guys, or seen your channel. And don't you go by the Dudleys on Facebook as well? Or something Dudleys? Or Dudley? I want to try to remember your first name. I know I've seen or interacted with you here recently under your first name in Dudley. So that's why I'm wondering. Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything. Where did you see the bigger battery on the SE? Right here. Paper. And then my notes. Go to their website. And on their website, you'll see the... this is DJI. Why do I have that? But you'll see the Zino Mini Pro page, and then you'll see the SE page, and then you'll go down to the battery, of course, and it tells you they are the same type of battery, different milliamp hours. 20, what was it, 2400 and 3000. 2400 milliamp hours on the Pro. And then since it's a lighter weight, they're able to crank in as much juice to bring it up to 3000 milliamp hours on the SE. So yeah, it was on everything I gave off my paper. All my little cheat sheet notes here, they all came from the Hubsan website. That's the only place I'm giving you guys information from. I'm not telling you what Banggood says. I'm not telling you what I saw in the Facebook group. That I'll tell you and let you know it's hearsay. So if it's in print there on their website, I'm taking that as gospel until we see it. Just like I'm taking this thing working. I'm saying it's going to work as it should until we actually see it. So I don't know that I need to go that much further up. And then one more time, guys, if you guys want my merch, like I said, the white now has a smaller logo. I think this logo is too big. Chad, you have it. Don's probably gone now. No, he's still here. Wow, thanks, Don. You're still here. You've been here the whole show, dude. You even popped in at 7 originally. But several people have bought them. I don't know, 15, 20 people bought them. But I have this one. This is my little comical plan for today. I'll show you again. This one's a little lighter. Now they're more black. But it's a coffee cup, a Hubsan Zino Pro, and then the ladder in the tree so you can retrieve the drone, the little tiny drone that's up in the tree there, and then celebrate with a beer or drink your troubles away with a beer. So I have that one. I have this one with the smaller logo, and then I have the exact same logo except color, the orange and grayish instead of silver. You couldn't do like a chrome, but it's a silver, two different tones of like a gray and silver and orange with a black outline. Really nice. So click the link, put it in there. Click the link, and it's my little store. And like I said, this is a campaign, so there's only going to be now it's 14 days. And then after 14 days, it's done. Or if they sell out, and I forgot what I put for each one, I do a different number. But you've got everything. Hoodies, sweatshirts, V-necks, regular t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts. These are extremely soft t-shirts. I mean, very comfortable. Chad said it, just like when I bought one from Don on Little Mountain Life. I wore that thing all the time, and I would always tell him how much I wore it. And he actually sent me a second one because I was going to wear the first one out. But it is the softest t-shirt I own. I love it. And then this one is as well. So they're when they say premium cotton tee, it definitely is. It's an extremely comfortable t-shirt. And if I find a really good, comfortable t-shirt, because that's all I wear is t-shirts, I wear it all the time. So, Don wore his QC shirt to his last paid drone gig. Cool. That's really cool. Yeah, and I saw that gig. That turned out good. Those pictures turned out nice. And again, Matt Cundiff, if you guys, did he go away? No, he's still here. If you guys see Maddie's Drone World, that's Matt Cundiff. Go to his channel. I told him to put a link in earlier. He's got a wrench. Matt, pop in your link one more time. Guys, go subscribe to his channel if you're friends with him and didn't know that he went from Matt Cundiff to Maddie's Drone World and is actually a official YouTube channel with a name other than himself now. So, well, that's not fair because Chad B is Chad B. But, QC guy, Little Mountain Life, you know how it goes. RC Trends, Maddie's Drone World, and so forth. So, anything else you guys want to say before I roll out? I don't want to go over an hour and a half. And I've actually got more people now. more people now than we had before. I'm going to chug down some of my Bloody Mary here. You guys pop in. Any questions? Anything you want to know? My shoe size. Did I change my underwear today? RC Trends, good night. How I make my Bloody Marys. And why do I put Old Bay around the top? Actually, here's why. This cup, you can't read it, but I think you can read it. Chad, you know what this is. Thames River Shore, down where Chad lives. It's where I was born and raised. Lived all my life there, pretty much. But thanks, Matt. Good night. But it's a seafood place on the river, and I was always a boater. Lived on a boat pretty much. Raised my kids on a boat pretty much. We were out there every weekend for the whole weekend. And always had a cabin cruiser. And every weekend went to Thames River Shore. My kids were raised at Thames River Shore playing in the sand pit. And they had the best Bloody Marys, because sometimes we'd spend the night there at the dock, and we'd get up in the morning, have our breakfast at Thames River Shore, and I'd have my liquid breakfast. So that's how I started doing it with Old Bay seasoning, because that's what they put on crabs. Don's having his wild turkey. I didn't see you as a wild turkey guy. Maybe more of a... Yeah, I guess you could be a wild turkey guy. Wild turkey's good. My only real beverage is... I like Bloody Marys, gin and tonics. I like dark ales. And not dark girls, dark ales. Well, dark girls too. And yeah, rest in peace, Thames River Shore. You know that one. I didn't realize that's right. Don was from there as well. Yeah, I mean they're still open right now, but I'm friends with Tim actually. I've known Tim for so many damn years, but he's my sister's age, and I actually know him, and I'm fairly close with him. So yeah, it's when the lease runs out, and anybody in that Virginia area, Dumfries, Virginia, actually, now would be the time to go experience Thames River Shore right on Potomac River. They always have live bands on a floating stage, lots of liquor flowing and lots of good seafood. Stop at Thames River Shore and visit it before it's gone. He has other locations, but there's nothing like that location. So the world built up around that place, and the community is basically pushing them out because, it's a bunch of rednecks for the most part. Redneck boaters and bikers going down there, but it's such a nice family place. It's not what some people make it sound out to be. It's actually a nice place to go. So, and I've got tons and tons of good memories there. But yeah, go to Thames River Shore, and while they're still alive there. So I don't know when that runs out. Most of you don't care about this. Chad and Don are pretty much all that know. Yeah, but that's it. I think I'm going to end it on that. There's nothing really going on big here in the comments. I do want to just say I really appreciate everybody popping in, as always. I'm always surprised by the turnout. I shouldn't be surprised by now. I hope you guys enjoy whether it be just enjoy the chat with each other, or enjoy coming and being on with me, or whoever else I'm with at the time, whether it be Chad B or anybody else. I need to get Jackie back on and do a live with Jackie. It would have to be an earlier one since she's out in Spain. But I think a lot of people really like Jackie. And she's in our Facebook group, and more people that probably didn't know Jackie know Jackie now. Very lovable, sweet person. And enjoy having her on. So Vacate the property September 30th. Thank you, Dawn. Yeah, so it won't be long. They'll be done and out of there. So yeah, I didn't get to Woodbridge any yet this summer, and that's one of my trips is to go to Tim's, and then go to the beach houses, which are right around the corner from Tim's. And it's just hard for me to go home. It's really hard for me to go home. I haven't been home since my mom died, and that's always been my home before living here. So it's just kind of hard to go back there and not have a home to go to. Like, I have nowhere to go to there. I'd actually have to go there and stay at a hotel now. So it's just kind of weird. But anyhow, I don't understand interactive DNA. I have to go back and read that one and think about it. The $50 difference between I finally get a real question here. The $50 difference between Mini Pro and the DJI Mavic Mini, is it worth it? It really depends on what you're using it for. I mean, the basic. I can't say anything with the Mini Pro yet. I think right now the safe bet would say buy DJI. If you need to buy now, I wouldn't put a pre-order on something non-existent that you don't know about versus something that's proven. I would be recommending, if I had to do anything right now, I'd be seriously recommending you just go, if you're going to order something right now and you want to get it soon, go get you a DJI, get you the Mini. So that's what I would say. Thanks, Don, for sharing the link again. Yeah, everybody grab you a t-shirt. Like I said, proceeds to that go to Pittsburgh Children's Hospital, or if anything pops up at that time. Other people have charities too. If they're good, legit charities and something that I definitely want to stand behind, I donate to them. I've donated to other channels. I've donated just to various things, other people's kids, things like that. So, if something else pops up, that's what that's what these are set up. This kind of funds are set up aside for. So that I'm giving 100% of to the charities. So, all right, that's it. I'm gonna say peace out, Boy Scout, and once again, thank everybody for just coming in and watching, and stay tuned for the drone that is missing to this controller. I'm going out tomorrow morning and I'm gonna hunt and try to find it. So hopefully it's not underwater or stuck way up in a tree. I would love it if I wouldn't even care if I stepped on it, just so I find it. I feel so sad. It's dark out now, and I feel so sad that my Mini 2 is out there in the woods all by itself. So it's probably scared with all the loud bullfrogs and noises that it's hearing, the raccoons that squeal at night, and so we're not going to get into that thermal until somebody's crazy enough to buy it. But anyhow, good night, everybody. Thank you as always. And let me get my hand on that button to end the broadcast, and I will just say peace and love.